Welcome back to Cage Press. I'm Eddie Law. Today, folks, it's a big one of the most respected names in MMA today. When you think of people who are building the sport from the ground up, you think of this man currently getting ready for LFA 211, headlined by Beatriz Mesquita and Sierra Dinwiddie for that vacant LFA bantamweight title in Salamanca, New York. He is the main man LFA. Ed Soares, how you doing, Ed?
I'm doing great, Eddie. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you taking the time, dude. Big time LFA card this Friday night, New York State. The vacant LFA bantamweight title. What are you expecting from that main event matchup between two undefeated bantamweights, Mesquita and Dinwiddie?
Well, I'm expecting an incredible fight. I don't think it'll go to I don't think it'll go to the decision. And you've got a girl who's got decent striking against a girl who's one of the best at jiu-jitsu. So it's definitely kind of like that old school kind of striker versus grappler sort of fight. And I definitely feel the winner of this fight should be going to the UFC.
Yeah, and speaking of someone at the UFC, former bantamweight champion Jacqueline Cavalcanti, how do you think she's been doing in the UFC so far?
Oh, she's been doing phenomenal. I mean, she's ranked, I believe she might be like 10th or 11th, maybe now. I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but yeah, she's doing extremely well. And that's one of the things we pride ourselves on here at the LFA is, we just don't give these athletes fights. We really prepare them to go up to the next level and not only get there, but perform well when they're there. I think this year, I'm not sure where we're at now, but I believe we're at like $1.1 million so far this year in alumni getting bonuses of the night.
That's amazing. And you just got Le'Veon Douglas cut up the Contender Series. That's got to be another one right there. You're looking for, like, oh, he's definitely getting a bonus. That guy fights like nobody else.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you, the featherweight division in our organization is one of the most stacked. I put that against any organization out there. I mean, excluding the UFC, of course. But I'm just saying, but our featherweight division is we have the baddest dudes on the planet that aren't signed by the UFC.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, like Le'Veon, you got Chris Smith, got this coming up. Chris, speak about him very quickly. I'll bring him up here again later. Mecate coming off a big win over Javier Reyes. You called him up like, hey, you want to fight Lamore? He's like, yeah, I'll do it. Cool. What do you think about that guy?
Yeah, no, he's incredible. He's going to be fighting there, and he's fighting Eric Visconde, which is a very tough guy, and we've got some other guys from Brazil that are currently got the call to go to Contender Series. One of them being Jose Delano, who that kid is, man, extremely technical, extremely well-rounded, and he's definitely ready. So there's just so many people that, and like I said, that's what we love to do. We love developing these guys, putting these guys through tests, making sure that they're battle tested. So when they get up to the UFC, they can perform.
Yeah, definitely. And with that Mecate matchup, that's definitely one of my, I believe you're definitely hitting that definitely perfectly. In the co-main event on this one, man, Fumi Nkuta and Cody Davis. Nkuta might be one of the busiest guys in combat sports. If he's not fighting, he's grappling. If he's not grappling, he's fighting. When you see a prospect like him, do you kind of put a blue chip on him? Like, all right, this guy has a future. He might be one of those guys.
Yeah, he does. He's 9-0 now. He's fighting Cody Davis, who is our former champ. And I think these are the types of fights that the world wants to see. And these are the types of fights that prepare you to get to the next level. I'm excited to watch this fight too. You know what I mean? Fumi is a very exciting fighter. Cody just keeps getting better and better with his grappling and his submissions. So this is, and also Fumi's no slouch on the ground either. So it's got all the ingredients to be a barn burner.
I saw that match and I was like, man, Cody's got some heavy hands. Fumi better be ready for that. Cody can land on you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Okay, let's play a little bit of if you don't know now you know game here. If you had to pick one matchup on this card in New York that isn't the main or co-main that you think people should keep an eye on, which one would it be?
I'm gonna say the lightweight bout between Jacoby Jones and Shovikal Churchev, I believe how you pronounce his name.
Yeah,
I think that's a sleeper fight right there.
Definitely, and I spoke to Adam Livingston not long ago. That's another fight. I think another guy he's kind of full package, right? He's got the skills, and
Yeah.
he's got the mic and everything. And he's got kind of like the whole brand package he's actually working on. After his last fight, he got the finish, and I think I want to say it was the first round. He got up and started yelling at everybody around. I asked him about that. He said he can't remember what he said. When you see guys like that are not just working on the fight game, but they're working on the brand game and their overall presentation, do you kind of try, see those guys like, hey, let's push those guys a little bit?
Well, no, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we do, and I think it's smart when those guys do that type of thing, because it's obvious you have to be a great fighter inside the cage and go out there and put on great performances and finish fights and do all the things that the UFC wants you to do. But I think it's also important to work on the other side of the business, which is getting people interested in watching you. At the end of the day, this is still prize fighting, and you got to get people interested in, whether they're interested in watching you win or interested in watching you get your ass kicked. They need to be interested in something. And I think that these guys are starting to really understand the other side of the business, that yes, it's important to be a great fighter. Yes, it's important to go out there and finish fights. But there's also that other side that gets people interested in what you're doing. And I think that that's extremely important.
Definitely. You got Jake Woodley on his Instagram curling burritos. I don't know if you've seen that. The Cali Taco burrito. It's the funniest thing. He's so funny. But another one of those guys building his brand. So they're getting into it young now.
Yeah, they are. And and Jake Woodley is an extremely tough kid.
Yeah.
Comes from a big wrestling pedigree. And one thing about wrestlers is they have that work ethic. They have that work ethic. I think guys that come up from wrestling, they just have a different work ethic about them. They're not afraid to grind, and that's sometimes what you need to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like you said, the wrestlers, they have that in their DNA. It's really remarkable to see. So taking a step back from LFA just for a minute, in the MMA space, all of us media, we know who you are, we know what you do, but fans know you more as like the close friend of Anderson Silva. All the years you spent going to his fights, working with him, watching him succeed, and finally complete his MMA career. Do you look back at that journey and you're just like, man, I can't believe I went on that ride and was one of the go to the sport?
No, I mean, I don't look back and say I don't believe I went through that, went on that ride. It was an incredible experience, and Anderson, me managing Anderson during his career, definitely was a milestone in my career. I feel Anderson provided a lot of a lot of great things for me in my life being his manager, and I hope he feels the same way that I was able to provide him with a lot. I think it was a good match, and it wasn't just myself. I always seemed to be the one out there. It was I had my business partner George Guimarães and the whole team of people around to do that. But it was definitely one of those things where he's definitely a special athlete. He to me, he's if not the GOAT, one of the GOATs, one of the greatest to ever do it. And it was a blessing, and there was a lot of ups and downs. It wasn't all fun. There was a lot of hard work, a lot of stresses, a lot of unnecessary stresses. But at the end, it helped me. It helped build me to who I am today. And it was an experience that was second to none. And I'm very grateful to have participated in his career that way.
What did you think when he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to box Jake Paul"? What'd you think of that?
I thought it was a slam dunk. I thought he was going to knock Jake Paul out.
Yeah.
I really did. I went to the fight and sat ringside because I wanted to see him do it. But you can't take anything away from Jake Paul. I think boxing's a different sport completely, and but Anderson, he went out there and did it. I think he was 48 years old at the time.
Yeah.
He was not young. Anderson just turned 50, so he just turned 50 in April. So He wasn't young, but you know what, man? You look at the guy, you see the way he
Mhm.
moves. He still moves like a he still moves like the goat, man. He's still a very extremely talented athlete. He may be a little slower, which is expected to be, or he might be not as sharp as he once was, but he's also 50 years old. And look
Mhm.
at the career, the amazing career that he's had. I mean, he broke so many barriers. The first athlete to be the first mixed martial arts athlete to be sponsored by Nike.
Mhm.
A lot of things. He definitely set the bar, and it was incredible to see him do that.
And he grew the sport. He grew the sport tremendously for sure.
At
For
that
sure.
time, he definitely did.
Yeah. All right. When you see the MMA landscape now, right? You got PFL trying to be different than the UFC. You got Risen kind of doing its own thing overseas. Won championships, kind of it seemingly taking a step away from MMA a bit and focusing more on Muay Thai. When you look at what LFA is doing in the space, do you see it as more and more consistent promotions in the world besides the UFC?
I mean, it's not even a matter of what I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's factually it is. I mean, it was funny just the other day. I was just messing around with Chat GPT, and I said, what is the number one developmental organization in the world? Mixed martial arts organization in the world, and LFA came up number one. Then I put, what are the top 10 best mixed martial arts organizations? And I think we were fifth or sixth. And actually, we should have been higher
Mm-hmm.
because they still had Bellator in there as number four, and Bellator doesn't even exist anymore. And then I also typed in which mixed martial arts organizations do the most shows, and we were fourth in the world.
Yeah.
So yes, once again, I'm not saying it. Ask Chat GPT. What I'm saying? It's like that. That's no opinion. No, ask AI. You know what I mean? And so yes, we've worked really hard. I know that a lot of times I'm kind of the face of the company and I get the credit, but I don't deserve the credit all the way. I don't deserve, sure, I deserve my merit of credit, fine, but it's really our team, man. We have an incredible team. My business partners, Sven, Bean, and Mark Berry, and every single person on our staff that travels around with us, our commentators, our producers, our directors, our cage crew. A lot of times these guys get overlooked, but without all of them, we wouldn't have what we have. And I'm extremely grateful for everybody that takes a part in this LFA family, because it's not just an organization. We really are a family. We're traveling 25 times a year together all over the world. So sometimes there's months where I spend more time with my LFA family than I do with my own family. So yeah, I'm very grateful for the team we have. I'm very happy with what we've built. I'm extremely happy with the people we work with, as far as our partnership with UFC Fight Pass, and our sponsorship deals that we have, our partnership with Monster Energy. I mean, all of these things have been really critical in our growth, and I'm very, very appreciative, and I have a lot of gratitude for all those things and all those people and all those companies that have participated in making us grow.
Yeah, and you have a top-notch team. I don't think I've spoken to anyone at LFA that wasn't top-notch. It's really amazing to see when you build your teams and you bring people in and everything. What do you focus on? You focus on character, resume. What do you look at?
Well, I think we focus on everything. For
Mhm.
first and foremost, I think they have to be good people, and I think uh, I think sometimes we may focus on them being good people more than their resume, because I think it's difficult to teach somebody to be a good person. It's much easier to teach them to do a task. So I feel that if you start off with the part of being a good person, I think it's much easier to teach somebody a task or how to do something correctly. As long as they're driven, motivated, are honest, good people, and loyal, to me, those are the key ingredients of building a team.
Gotcha. All right, man. You're teaching me a lot right now. Running a team myself, I'm definitely implementing that to my squad. I appreciate you. You've been doing this a long time. When you see another LFA fighter get called up to the UFC, you still get that same sense of pride.
100%, man. I get so excited. I get so happy when I see these young guys coming through, whether they get called to contenders, called to move up. I mean, that's what I do it for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I, I, I sit back and I think, I think about, man, when I'm gone, what do I, in the business world, what do I want people to think about? And I want them to think I made a difference and made a difference in the sport and helped people, move up and made a difference in people's lives. In professionally, that's how I would like to be remembered.
There you go, man. All right. Just a couple quick questions here on a couple upcoming events. LFA 212, July 11th, back to Brazil. Eduardo Chapolin is currently on Ultimate Fighter. So, interim flyweight title holder Marco Degli is going to defend his interim title against Oscar Miguel. If
Yeah.
Chapolin doesn't win the Ultimate Fighter, doesn't get signed to the UFC, are you expecting him to face the winner of this fight?
That could definitely happen. Yeah. I mean, we're going to definitely see what happens there. I mean, Marcos Degli is a beast, and he deserves to unify the title. But with all due respect, he went to the Ultimate Fighter, and he's got a title. So depending on who wins that fight, well, regardless of who wins the fight, the goal would be to potentially unify the titles and do that.
Gotcha.
Eventually. The thing is that if there's an opportunity for Chapolin to fight prior, and it's not going to be able to, because that fight's in a few weeks. Depending on, hopefully they don't get hurt. There's a lot of variables that could be going on that may not be able to be an immediate unification of titles. But in a perfect world, yes, they would be unifying the titles.
All right. And then LFA 213, Lemoore, California, July 26th. Of course, we spoke about the headliner, Visconde and Mecate. Both men on win streaks. Any chance we'll get the winner, to fight for an interim featherweight title with Lejian going to Contender Series?
Well, I think by the time they fight, and I think Larion, I think that hopefully Larion gets signed and by the UFC and moves on, and then we could, they could fight for the vacant title. But I definitely almost feel that these guys kind of deserve that shot. But to be honest, there's so many featherweights that we have that are worthy of fighting for an interim title. So, who knows who could come up. Maybe we'll, after this fight, maybe we'll try to set up a tournament of some sort where we get 4 of the top featherweights and they fight each other and it goes down to a title holder.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome to see. And then, of course, for myself anyway, any chance you guys are going to get back to Arizona this year?
You know what? We'd like to. It just doesn't, things haven't been lining up. When we found a date that works for Arizona, it didn't work for us with our broadcast dates. And then when we found a date that worked for the broadcast, then we went to go get the venue, and then the venue, so there's a lot of moving parts with getting a date. We love coming to Arizona. Unfortunately, we haven't been there in a minute. But we doing what we can. Hopefully we will be back in Arizona. I just don't know when.
All right, hopefully, man. We got a big fight. I mean, we got a big fight culture in the state now.
Of course, 100%. It's one of our greatest places we go to.
No, I got teammates always telling me like, "Hey, man, you didn't get it. You got a chance?" And I'm like, "I'm not the guy to talk to, man. You gotta hit up the matchmakers." All right, a couple quick fire questions for you, and then we'll get you on your way.
Okay.
Outside of the fight game, MMA, what is the most important thing for you?
My family.
There you go. And then who has been your biggest supporter through all these years of working in the space? Who's been your biggest supporter?
My wife.
That's an important one. There you go. And then your favorite combat sports athlete of all time?
My favorite combat sports athlete of all time? Whew, God, that's a tough one.
Right.
I would have to say it probably wouldn't even come from MMA.
Mm.
Just as a kid growing up, I used to love watching Mike Tyson fights, man.
There you go. Hey, when people ask me, they ask me who'd you enjoy watching fight the most, I always go Anderson Silva and Julio Cesar Chavez. Even though I was too young, my dad
Yeah.
always had played the tapes for me. That guy was so
Yeah.
crazy, so much fun.
Yeah, he was too. But something about Tyson, man, that
Yeah.
when he would come out, man, with just that towel over his head, no socks on, just the black trunks and the black shoes, it was just, he was just, that was a time in my life where I remember that very good. But to be honest with you, it's hard to say one because I have so many.
There you go. And one thing about that, him and Mike and Anderson kind of have the same thing, almost beating their opponents before they get in the ring. It was like the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. Watching guys get in there before Anderson gets in there, watching guys get in there before Mike Tyson gets in there, and they're already like almost beat. It is wild.
Well, yeah, I mean, Anderson was extreme. Like, he was a complete fighter, and he was definitely, there wasn't a place where, people say, "Oh, we'll take him to the ground." Well, he was extremely good on the ground. It just people thought that was the way to take him because his striking was so superior that, I mean, if his ground game would have been as precise as his striking, he would have been a robot or something. He would have been an AI fighter or something like that, because his striking, he was so far ahead of his time with the way that he moved in the ring and his whole mentality. He's definitely a pleasure to be there for all his fights live and watch that go down.
Yeah, take Anderson to the ground. It didn't work out for Chael. I don't know about that idea.
It didn't work out for Travis Luter either.
That's right. You're 100% right.
It didn't work out for Dan Henderson either.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Hendo did. That's right. I forgot about that one. All right. All right, last question. When you're not working on LFA stuff, where can people find you on an off day?
If it's in the winter, I'm skiing, and if it's in the summer, I'm surfing.
Hey, active rest is how you do it.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, folks. Do not miss LFA 211 this Friday night, June 20th, from the Seneca Ligani Resort and Casino in Salamanca, New York, headlined by a big-time bantamweight title matchup between Brazil's Beatriz Mesquita and Canada's Sierra Dinwiddie. Tickets available at Ticketmaster and broadcast on UFC Fight Pass. The main man at LFA, Ed Soares. Ed, thanks for the time.
Thank you, man.